Hey, folks, welcome back, or welcome for the first time. I'm not sure which it is, but whatever it is, I'm glad you're here. My name's Tom Nicoli, and this is Master Visionary Coaching at mastervisionary.com. Now, wherever you are, wherever you're watching this from, go ahead and click the link that's there, or just type in your browser mastervisionary.com. Now, when you get to the page, all I want you to do is click live, and then on that page, click Speak with Tom. Come on in at the website where the show is hosted, though you're watching it maybe on some other medium, maybe YouTube or Facebook or something like that. But come on over and let's interact a little bit and let's discuss being stuck, being held hostage, and how to start setting yourself free. But I got to tell you, today I feel even better than I usually feel. And I want to give a big shout out to Rebecca Jones. If you're in the Canton, North Canton, Ohio area, every couple of weeks I see Becky for a 90-minute massage, and she is awesome. Therapeutic Massage, Rebecca Jones in Canton, Ohio. Thank you, Becky. Now, when I talk about us being stuck and held hostage, we could use a whole bunch of words or phrases, but it means the same thing: limited, stuck, hostage, imprisoned. And all of that leads to the same thing. Limitation leads to frustration, leads to misery eventually. It leads to such negative emotion that we could even be walking around angry like a time bomb just waiting to go off, when sadly, none of that has to be. None of it has to be like that. So the question I want you to ask yourself is very simple. And it's something we do with our clothing if we have ideas. And I don't know if you've ever heard this, but if you have an idea of, should I get rid of that piece of clothing or not? Well, you could use 1 or up to 3 years as your gauge. Have I worn it in the last year or up to 3? And if the answer is no, then you're probably not going to wear it in the next 1 to 3 years. Okay. Well, it's the same thing in life. Is your life improving? Is life better? Are you happier? Are you healthier? Are you more abundant? Not just financially, but in all ways. Speaking of all ways, when I was driving, I had 70 minutes to get to my appointment today, my massage. Every single light was green as I just drove to it. And I considered that to be a moment of abundance. I was receiving abundance in this freedom of time and the convenience of just getting where I needed to get. So this is what I mean when I say being abundant, where you're receiving, you're experiencing, you're having abundant happiness, abundant opportunities, abundant free flow, or the flow state. Okay. So all of these words can mean the same thing, but they mean different things to different people, though they're similar. You say hostage to some people, they respond a lot differently than if they say being stuck. But we're not supposed to be stuck. You see, Master Visionary Coaching is all about tapping back in to the visionary, the master visionary we were born as. We are from the source of greatness. We're not meant to be as limited, as unhealthy, as unhappy as we become. And I want you to realize that what we become is not who we are. And what we think we are isn't really even who we are. We're far, far better and beyond that. So how does this happen? Have you ever thought about it, ever? Because I'm sure you've had moments like I've had in my past where I just didn't understand. I didn't understand why nothing was getting better. I didn't understand why putting in all those hours, having 2 and then 3 jobs, like this career I have now being my 3rd job, starting that over 20 years ago, I didn't understand. I am working. I'm applying myself. I'm being responsible. Nothing's changing. Does that sound familiar? Let's talk. You put in the time, you put in the effort, you do what you think is right, but what are we basing what we think is right on? Not right on, but what we think is right, what are we basing that on? We're basing it on what we were told, what we heard along the way. And along the way, we were younger and we were less experienced and we had different perceptions than we have now. But it doesn't mean just because you know better, things are better. And that's the biggest kick in the butt, isn't it? When you say, and I hear it all the time, but Tom, I know better. I mean, I really shouldn't even be here doing the session because I know better. I know what to do. Everyone knows what they're doing, what they probably should do, though I don't like the word should, and what would make a better outcome in life. Okay. So why aren't we doing it? The why is the problem. And the why is everything accumulated between our ears. It's information that's no longer helpful or maybe never was. It's advice that is no longer helpful or maybe never was. And some of the things that we may have done may have been fine at the time, at the age we were, in the situation we were in. But the problem is people keep bringing their past with them, and then their past becomes their present. And that's what's holding you hostage. That's what holds us back. That's what creates limitation. That's what creates all the problems we're dealing with. There are so many components, though, in order to be set free. I'm going to talk about those in a bit. But I want to talk a little bit more about this thing we call the past. Now, the crazy part of it all is the PAST, right? The past has PASSED, has past. Now, of course, your experiences have influence on you, but so much so that they can last your whole life if we don't do anything about it. So going through life like this is limiting right there alone. But this is not how you get through life, that you just hope and you wish, and sometimes you even lose hope. You become hopeless. That isn't how we do it. There are ways to actually initiate everything we have inside of ourselves that is the master visionary, to ignite it as a match that can light a bonfire of goodness, of change. And that word right there is one of the problems. Let's look at the word change for a moment, folks. How many times have you said, I don't like change? How many of you right now are even feeling, yeah, I don't like change? That is the most unnatural approach to life. And it is not how we began. I don't know when it happens because it's different in everyone's life, but there's this time somewhere along the way where if change didn't happen, you would have felt punished and left out. And then we shift into this thing called comfort, when it's really familiarity, okay? What you call a comfort zone is just doing things that are familiar. But we keep doing things that are familiar, meaning we're repeating the same things over and over. So being open to change is the most natural thing we've ever done and what we need to continue to do. For instance, people say, I don't like change. Well, have you ever heard the genie or heard of the genie saying, your wish is my command? Well, that's your deep inner mind, subconscious mind that runs everything. Even though you consciously know better, why you're doing what you're still doing is because we're driven by the hard drive within us called the subconscious mind, not conscious thinking. Conscious thinking is the part we say, get out of your own way. So we first have to re-embrace change. You see, it's another RE word. Revisit, remember, reestablish, reconnect, because you have to do it again. Imagine if you were in the 6th grade and you were told you're not going to 7th grade. You would have been upset. Instead of, no, that's okay. I know this routine. I know the deal here. I got this down. You would have never said that, right? Well, that's what you're doing every day as an adult. It becomes ridiculous, folks. So you get up and you think, no, 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 this is what I do. Yet, there aren't many people that I've met and know or hear and see and listen to that are really, really happy with their Groundhog Day, with their repeating the same day again. But yet, you justify and rationalize doing it again. Now, if you don't believe that you're doing it again and it's a new day and new experiences, let me share this. 90%, at least 90% of everything that's going on with an individual is by habit. Now, let this soak in for a moment. You think you wake up and it's a new day, new beginning, or I left that job and I got this job, or I stopped that career and I started another career, or I decided to finally start that small business. You may be doing something different, but you're going to be the same. So when I say 90% is the same, I'm talking not only our behavioral habits, but habitually we function in our thought patterns. So we think, yeah, well, I was thinking the other day, well, that wasn't new, probably. Or something comes up and you say something. That's a speech pattern, that's a habit. Or something happens and you have an emotional reaction to it. That's also habitual. Can you imagine this now? 90% of your existence is by habit and not new. No changes, no developments. So think of the contradiction and the idiocy, basically. I mean, let's face it. I want this, and this, and I want that and that and that, but you don't add the word change. But in order for any of it to happen, change is a necessity. Progress dictates change. So there's one way to be stuck, and I mean really stuck, is to desire or want new or better things, but yet resist change. That's just silly. You know, the greatest sentence in life in my mind is, you're not going to believe what happened. You're not going to believe who I met. You're not going to believe what happened today. That's the greatest stuff because that's new. That's different. That creates change. So until you decide that change is automatic and natural, that change is to be embraced, change is what will bring you forward, then it's Groundhog Day, not what we're meant to be here for. Okay. So let's look at a couple of other things that hold us back, hold us hostage, and imprison us in this thing called life. Well, my dad said, well, my mom used to tell me, well, my uncle used to tell me all the time. Oh, wow. What we don't know when we're younger is that it takes time to develop issues in life. It takes time to have bad habits. It takes time to reinforce beliefs that just don't work. And that's what adults are. Kids are free. Kids are a freer, open, fresher, cleaner hard drive. They're delivered, we're just older versions of. We're delivered with everything we need. We're just not aware. Dr. Ron says, hey, Tom, thanks for sharing. Ron, you're welcome. It's always a pleasure to have your energy around. So we listen to these adults and we don't realize that, and this isn't being harsh and it isn't being, I don't know, ill-mannered to anybody. I'm just being honest here. And God forbid we're honest anymore, right? Too bad. Tough. How's that? Let's be honest. Everybody's a knucklehead. How's that? Everyone's a knucklehead. Everybody who gets old enough to start living their own life, almost everybody, doesn't have a clue. They just listen to what they were told, and the further back you go, sometimes the worse it is. And they think, well, that's how it's done, when it didn't work. But that's all they know, so they pass it on. You see? Now, I learned some wonderful things from my parents, but I also heard some silly stuff. I also heard things that there was no way I was going to believe or accept any of that anymore. So one of the things we have to do is check our beliefs. Just because you believe something doesn't mean it's true, doesn't mean it's real, doesn't even mean it exists. You can believe in unicorns. I don't know, maybe they exist somewhere, because I really don't say no to much, because some things you think are impossible, they become possible. Even in our lifetime, things we thought were impossible are commonplace. So, what you believe is going to create this physical outcome. Even biblically, it's whatsoever ye perceives and believes. So, however you see things, your perception, how you define whatever's outside of you, and then what you accept as information that you believe is true or fact, creates these outcomes, okay? So if you don't like the outcomes that you're living in, if you don't like your physical reality, you need to look at your beliefs. And it doesn't matter who told us what. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. They just didn't know better. Okay. And now you could say, yeah, but you don't understand. My parents did really well. They're just wonderful. There's nothing negative to say. I mean, everybody knows who they are. They're so generous and kind and charitable, and their lives are amazing. Right. Their lives, not ours. So maybe something works for someone, and so they pass it on to the next person, like their children. But that's not what that person was supposed to do. That totally misguided and misdirected the individual from their purpose and their passion and what they're here for. So another way we get back to stepping back in order to see more clearly to step forward with change and successful outcomes is we release the beliefs that have held us back. We also release the perceptions we had when we were younger, because whenever we react away, when we can't believe we just acted that way, it's the younger version of us and the response that we stored on the hard drive that came back up. So when a same or similar situation comes up in life, you'll react the way you did then the first time you experienced it. That's why you think, why didn't I just say something to them? I felt like I was like a kid being chastised. Right. Because your mind resorted back to that experience, because everything you've ever experienced is right now. It's available right now. How much is 1 and 1? What's your middle name? Yeah, it's there right now. So everything that was a problem or remains to be a problem, it's always there right now. So we need to start releasing. We need to start shifting. We need to start letting go. But then again, you don't need to. I only say you need to if you have a desire to create a better living situation, to feel better about yourself, to feel good inside here, no matter what kind of, phony facade we put out there. Like when people say, hey, how's it going? Everyone goes, oh, it's great. Most times it's not. So the past is the weight that becomes the shackle and the chain that holds us in limitation, creating misery. Oh, God, no. That is not what we're here for. It's not why we're here to develop. We're here to experience. We're here to grow. We're here to live. But if you're in a miserable pattern and all you're doing is ruminating and spinning thoughts that are negative and doing the same thing every day, watching the same crap on TV every night, same outcome tomorrow, but yet you're pissed off about it. So what can we do? What can we really do in order to start making these changes, about these shifts, these releases? Well, you've got to come to a decision. The very beginning, no matter what, is you have to decide that you want things to be different. I mean, people talk about it. They say they do, but do you really? Now, one reason that holds people back, and I've been saying this for years and years and years and years, maybe through my whole career, I forget. Adults don't like to make adult decisions. Now, again, there's a real curiosity to me that as children, we're able, We're capable, we're insightful, we're adventurous, and we're independent. We're confident. Somebody messes with you, somebody acts like a fool, somebody in your group of friends causes dysfunction and problems, you just say immediately, "You're not my friend anymore. We don't like you." Ooh, we call it the brutal honesty of children, right? But as an adult, the person is messing up everything. They're always a negative influence. You can't stand having them around. And when I ask my clients, well, why don't you just tell them they can't be a part of the group anymore? Well, we've known them forever. Well, what are people going to think? What are people going to think? Who cares? Another big problem. So you see, the more I talk, the more you realize that there is so much involved. And yet, the silliness, once you learn it, is it's not difficult to shift out of it. The cool part is that you do not need to really learn anything new because what it requires is what you always knew when you were new. Hmm. So we start independent, we start confident, we start, experiencing, we start wanting better and bigger things and newer things and all this kind of stuff, right? And what happens? Adults get in the way. Adults limit us. Adults don't let people do things that they're probably capable of. My son is 29. We both had a birthday, same day last week. And when he was 3, I would take him to the woods and take him fishing and doing things like this. Or we lived in the city, but I would take him down to the park and play ball or whatever. And guys couldn't believe what I was letting a 3-year-old do. They're like, look what he's carrying and look where you have him going. And like, is he complaining? Yet he was able to do a lot more, a lot quicker than most people. Children can do a lot more than you believe. And we are that child. The inner child is who you really are. So we need to reconnect, retap, revisit, all the RE words. So what you need, you have. That's the beauty. So you don't have to learn or take courses or spend 3, 4, 5 years to get a degree on this stuff. Everything you need is inside of you. You just need to be guided as to how to access it and then how to use it. Because, I could give you a key, let's say. You're shackled. The lock is tight. You need a key. So you got a piece of metal and you got a hole, and you got this piece of metal and shaped a certain way, and you stick it in, it's upside down, you put it underneath, you put it against your leg, and you try to pry it off, and I'm going, no, that's not how you do it. And you're forcing, you're struggling, you're using all this effort and energy. So learning the key is the first step. Then how to use the key is the next step. So I say, no, watch. Put it in like this. Just turn it slightly. You can't believe it. And it sometimes is that quick to start experiencing feeling lighter emotionally and physically, having clarity and direction, having a bigger perception, or what we say, seeing the big picture of life, and how this narrow vision that we had was part of what locked us up and limited us, thinking it's all on me. I better figure it all out. I better make sure I learn everything I need to learn to make this happen. No, see, that's the misdirection. That's the misguidance. So what we need to do is step back and just say, maybe. I even tell my clients, don't even agree with me. Say maybe, though. Once you say no, it's over. So say maybe. Maybe I've always had what I needed and just didn't know it. Maybe once I get some guidance and I learn what the keys are and how to use them, that my life can change. Maybe there is something to this thing about doing everything smarter than harder. Maybe The metaphor of the river of life is what I'm missing. That I can get into the current and have to be consciously aware and involved, the rocks and trees and shallow water, but I'll get where I'm going a lot better, a lot quicker, a lot easier because there's a current, there's a flow. Maybe all the people who talk in ways that sound woo-woo, that sound far out, that sound ridiculous, is really where it's at. You see, we're not saying anything new, people like me. We're saying things that have been talked about from the ancients. We're going all the way back to as far as you can in documented history. That people then, because they didn't have technology, they didn't have machinery, they had nature, they had the basics, they had themselves, and they were able to tune in. They were able to tap into, and they were able to understand through experiences that what we now, because of technology, the Industrial Revolution and technological revolution, has pulled people away from that. But folks, it's like anything. The basics will always remain. Good manners, nature, natural, everything that this physical machine that you are driving through a physical life needs and requires is all there in its simplicity. So what is it? Type something, come on over to mastervisionary.com and let's interact here and tell me where you're stuck. Where do you feel the most limited? And what part of life do you honestly believe? And remember, beliefs aren't facts, but they will mold your life. What have you come to believe that is keeping you the most limited, stuck in a hostage situation? And I'll share a couple of things that you can start applying, where you can start releasing yourself from what's going on in thought, perception, and even things that you're not even aware of. How there are exercises that are very easy to apply that can be done in order to experience relief immediately. So, what is it? If something could change, what would you want it to be? What are you willing to let go of? What are you willing to do differently? This is what we avoid at all costs, right? People say to me, well, I don't go there. I go, well, that's the problem. However, I think your mind keeps you out of there because when you go in there, you don't know what to do. And you just figure, what's the point? I understand. But let's talk about going there in your thoughts and feelings and doing it in a way where you don't feel inferior or less than or victimized or fill in the blank. But let's go there in a way of empowerment, in a way of management, not control, but management, to be able to interact and manage things in a whole better way. What would it be? I'm curious. Excuse me. You know, another problem that is very common, and the Buddha had said, the problem is you think there's more time. Yeah. So what happens is we put things off, right? We say, well, I'm going to do that. Going to almost never happens. Oh, I'm going to get to it. Almost never happens. So we've heard and we know that the best time to do something is now. Whenever you have a thought about something, that's an indicator. You know, if you're looking for a sign, that's a sign that that's the time to do whatever it is you just thought of. You know, for instance, something simple. Let's say that I'm in the middle of doing something. I'm leaving the upstairs, I'm going down and down a couple of flights of stairs to the music studio. And I'm going to go down and do some recording, or I'm just going to play. But I would just get a thought about the mail. My habit now is to follow whatever shows up or what I feel. So I'll just pause, redirect myself, and go check the mail. To me, that's my inner guidance. That for whatever reason or reasons, that showed up at that time. For whatever reason or reasons, that thought came in, and maybe I'm supposed to go check the mail then. But we can't have these thoughts of spontaneity and flexibility and guidance if it's too loud and too busy. And that's one of the problems, too, that keeps us stuck and held hostage. We just keep thinking the same shit that we think all the time. You know what? I'm going to take the word we out. I'm not implying, I'm not going to be a part of this. I'm going to say people. It's amazing. If you took the time or used that time that you're taking or using to have no positive outcome, and you started learning how to manage thought so the thought would bring you better physical outcomes, you'd be really surprised. Thoughts become reality. Watch what you wish for, you just might get it. As you think, so you are. See, most people, they hear all this stuff, but they don't get it. They don't put it together. Your thoughts have massive power. And when you manage your thoughts and your feelings, you manage your life. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have negative thoughts come in. It doesn't mean you're not going to have a negative feeling come up. But it's up to us to manage in the moment whatever happens. You see, when those feelings come up that are negative, when those thoughts come up that are negative, when those habits come up that are repetitive, that's falling in the water. Okay? That's falling in the water. You don't drown by falling in the water, though. You drown by staying there. You do not drown by falling in the water. So you'll fall in the water, especially in the beginning as you're learning to re-navigate and redirect yourself in a better way, because these habits are still there while you create new success-based habits. And now what happens is when these thoughts come up, you're in the water doing nothing to get yourself out. I'm going to talk more about that when we come back, but we're going to take a short commercial break. Come on over to mastervisionary.com and click on live. I'll see you in a bit.
Are you a CEO or an executive suffering from unbearable stress? Do you feel like you're burning out and your leadership skills are suffering? There's good news. You're only 12 weeks away from turning it all around. The Master Visionary Coaching Program gives you all the resources to do so with less effort than it takes to load your groceries into your car. The Master Visionary Coaching Program is by application only. Apply now at mastervisionary.com.
Well, all right. Welcome back. Yes, From Stress to Success is the program that I use in my Master Visionary Coaching. That is my most recently developed program. It's a combination of what I've done as a hypnotherapist, as a coach, and as my career has evolved and developed over 20 plus years. I put together From Stress to Success because no matter what position you're in life, situation you're in life, be it personal, business, or both, the limitations, the negativity, the frustration, all of that causes stress. Now, unfortunately, stress has become a comfortable word to people. They even believe that the more stressed they are, the better that is, because that means I'm really pushing hard, I'm working hard. No, that is an idiot. That is a big knucklehead. I used to be that. Two hands because I was it doubly. I thought this is how things happened. You forced, you pushed, you worked, you struggled, oh my That's not how anything good happens. Nothing good happens that way. That's just the human conscious way of approaching life. But yet, the silliness is the people I heard that from did not improve. They didn't succeed, they didn't accomplish, but yet we still did it. And we never thought, well, why? Well, because he said so, because they said so. Wow. You know, I use a phrase a lot with my clients, and they say, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I said, that's awesome. You're taking your life back. See, whenever we step up, whenever we get honest, whenever we get insightful a little bit, whenever we put down our defenses and our denial, which is rationalizing and justifying all this bullshit that we're dealing with, whenever we finally look in a mirror and realize everything's there, every problem in my life is there, because even though other people may have caused it because of what they said and what they did and what they told me, I allowed it. So it's in there now. Also, everything that will help me, everything that I've needed all along is in there. And this is why there's conflict. This is why I know better, but yet there's a part of me that keeps doing it. And we talk about these parts, right? So it takes a moment of honesty and a moment of just saying, you know what, I don't know. That was the best thing that ever happened when I just said, you know what, I don't know. I don't know. And I have no problem saying I don't know. Hey, I was having a brief chat with the producer of this show. Oh, YCN Media, Yifat Cohen. Go check them out. Awesome. And in the conversation we were having, it's something that I don't do well. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I don't know. You see, you can't learn what you need to learn or know what you need to know until you say, I don't know. But your ego gets in the way. You see? That's one of the biggest parts right there that holds us back. One of the biggest parts that holds us back is ego, pride, insecurity. The more insecure we are, the bigger our ego is, the less it's managed. The more secure we are, ego's not even a part of it all. You know, we don't care what somebody said about us. You know, as we say, we get more thick-skinned. We're not as thin-skinned. I mean, it still may bother you, but you manage it better. Or you just realize that's just their perception. You know, I've had many people praise me in my career and other people talk about me in a negative way. And whoever has said anything to me, they overheard something. I say, look, both of those people are right and both of them are wrong. I'm neither. That's just their perception, but the real perception of who I am and what I do and what I'm about is in there somewhere. So just remember that about everybody. And whenever you feel attacked, that response that you get when the insecurity rises and you feel hurt, well, that's the ego. Okay. Now, I'm not saying it's an easy go. No. I spent years and years and years not being an insecure, thin-skinned, freckly, white, pasty, red-headed Italian. Yeah, we all have our shit, right? Well, that was right. But I learned over time, this is how I came here in this physical form. And the whole deal was not to be what I'm not, but to be the best version of this that I could be. Okay? So no matter what you look like, no matter what your physical situation, no matter what your past, no matter what your experience, no matter where you're from, no matter what horrible shit has gone on, so what? Say so what to everything that has bothered you, that has gotten in your way, that has hurt you. And I say it like that because, you know, it's us, and believe me, I lived there. It's us being that little cupcake. I'm so hurt. You know, they said something about me. I know, man. I've done it. I felt it. I've been there. Redheads get bullied too, you know. Yeah, freckles, you get bullied. And I don't think it was such a bad thing. Kind of makes you step up and suck it up a little. But anyway, see, there was so much, right? But we need to just get back to basics. Again, we need to get back to basics. We need to step back. And we need to realize, so what? People are going to talk no matter what. And the people who praise me, that's just their perception. So I don't buy into that one either. And the people who knock me down or try to, they got issues and problems, man. And they're just releasing them. So even if I do well, they're going to talk anyway. So what's the point? Plus all that time, all that energy, all that mentalness, all that thought and emotion going on, and what you've done without knowing it is you have given people the privilege of managing your emotions. No one should have the privilege of ever managing your emotions. So when people say to me, well, I mean, you just made me upset for a moment. I'm like, wow, I must be magic. I can change your feelings? That's something. I'm not changing anybody's feelings based on what I do. That's just how they react based on their whole history of the world here between their ears. So that goes back to whatever's in the mirror, you own it. It's yours. It happened. It's in you. It's yours. Once you take ownership, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, but not if you're borrowing, and not if you're waiting for other people to tell you it's okay. So we can live as hostages, or we can live free. We can live like a bird in a cage, or we can live like a bird migrating to warmer weather when it gets cold. So what do you choose? What do you choose? And if you do not make a choice, then you're giving up the greatest privilege you were ever given in life as a human. Free will. All living things function on instinct alone. All living things have intuition, including humans. That's your gut feeling, your first thought. So every time you override that, that is being, well, it's being naturally stupid. Because everything in nature follows that intuitiveness, whatever's instinctive. But we were given free will, the ability to override that. But you can use your free will to go along with that. See, I used to do it, many people do, and say, well, it doesn't make any sense, man. I mean, yeah, but I can't see how or why that's the thing to do, when it would always prove itself to be the right thing. Well, we all experience that and say, I knew I should have got my first thought. Then why don't you? Why don't you? It's because you allow the conscious thinking mind to come in again and use the brain, which can only use logic, which then keeps you stuck. This is what we mean by get out of your own way. Another phrase we hear that people don't understand. Get out of your own way. Instead of thinking, you're better off pondering or wondering, daydreaming on that, sitting with that for a moment, observing it. You see, that's the beauty. When you step back, you get to observe and you're not in the way. So it takes a revisit to the master visionary we were born as, a reconnection to the power we had as children in our confidence, our independence, our adventure, passionate kind of drive inside of us, that adventurous part of us, to be engaged in the moment and not think about, well, what else is going on and what's happening over there and what are they saying and what are they doing? Kids are just knowing that they're playing here with this ant, watching it carry a big piece of bread. That's tremendous. Look how small the ant is and look what it's carrying. So being in the moment, we forgot about that. You see, if you keep looking in your rearview mirror and you keep looking so far ahead through your windshield to the landscape, you might hit the car right in front of you because you're overlooking it. You're looking beyond it. Or you're looking behind you where you've already been. But this is the deal too. So you see, there are a lot of factors, right? But the beauty is it all comes together when we start implementing the managing tools that we can apply between our ears. That when we start managing with honesty and ownership of our own emotional reactions or the thoughts that come up when something happens or something's said. So when we start shifting and we start elevating, we start advancing, we start progressing, growing, developing, this is where the best stuff in life is. Up here in this clearer, cleaner vibration of energy. But when you're in a low vibration of energy and you're down here, you're in the mud. You're in the quicksand. You're stuck. You just can't move forward. And it's fun. When's the last time you did something that changed your life that was a blast, that was fun, that you looked forward to? Because most people, when they change their life, now they eat really healthy and they don't have fun doing it. They don't enjoy it. They don't flip the perception correctly. Or you physically move your body, which you call exercise. Exercise just means put into motion. You can exercise your imagination. So you start exercising and working out, and you do that begrudgingly. You take a course at night, put in extra hours, or build a side hustle, working extra hours, and you do it begrudgingly. You do it with bad attitude. This is one of the problems too. That's using force and stress, right? But remember, from stress to success. But imagine doing the things you do, maybe just neutral with your emotion, or a little proud. Like I'm doing it. Like I'm not doing the same stupid shit. I'm doing it. Uh-huh. How about the next day when you think, wow, that was cool, you know? And then today I want to do a little something more, a little something different. Then before these new ways become your habits, your new success habits. That's when life starts to get comfortable and casual and easier, and you drive with only minutes before your massage and all the lights are green. Yeah, this is how it goes. You get an email or a phone call and it changes direction of your career, and nothing that you went out there and chased down. That leads me to something else I'll throw in. I was taught it, maybe you were taught it. You basically chase everything. You go after, right? Go after your dreams. Uh-uh. Let's say you looked outside and you saw someone that for some reason or reasons sparked incredible emotional magic inside of you. And for the first time in your life, you understood love at first sight. Okay, so you get up and you go open the door and you start running after that person. You start chasing them. They see you coming and they start walking away and you're like, no, wait, 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 wait. And they think this is a crazy person. They run away. Usually whatever you chase or whatever is being chased runs away. So you chase opportunity. You chase love. Chase your dreams. It all runs away. So that's us pushing everything away from us while we think we're working so hard to get closer to it. See the contradiction? Folks, this is just how it works, whether you believe it or not. And once you experience what I'm sharing, it's no longer a belief. See, I don't believe what I'm sharing. I know what I'm sharing. I don't believe 1 and 1 is 2. I know 1 and 1 is 2. So let's do this right now. Close your eyelids. If you're just sitting somewhere where you're not going to get in trouble, maybe you're not supposed to be listening right now. People do things. I want you to just close your eyelids, okay? And I want you to ask yourself a simple question, and the answer will be a feeling that you get. Just ask yourself this. Is my life going in the direction that will bring me what I desire? That's it. I'm not asking you if you're there yet. I'm not asking you if you've become accomplished and successful by now. What I'm asking you is right now, with what's going on, do you feel that you're truly headed toward an outcome that is based on your desires? Because we all have different desires in life. Some of us want to live very simply. Some of us want to live grand. Some of us want to live off the grid and Some want everything. But with what's going on right now, are you headed there? You don't have to have information for your answer. Your answer is a feeling you get. And if you feel really positive, you feel really confident, you feel really light and clear, okay, keep doing what you're doing. But if you feel like ugh, dread, drudgery, frustration, limitation, same old, unless you do something, that's what will continue. See, there's no magical secret, though it is pretty magical when you start setting yourself free. But there's no big secret here, even though there was the DVD The Secret. But after that came out, I did what some other people did. I went out and did not a tour, but I did a talk in a lot of locations called The Secret Behind the Secret. There were things people were just missing. So before there's attraction, which is, by the way, which is how everything happens rather than chasing it. When you focus on you, when you do the things that are right and better, meaning energetically and naturally and all that, you will find things will happen that you won't be able to create that will assist you towards your outcomes and goals. All of us who have done it know it. This is not a theory, okay? But before you have attraction, you need to have traction. You need to be doing things that will get you closer to where your goal is, where your destination is, right? But before you have traction, you have to have subtraction. That's why stress to success. In that program, what we do is we remove the blocks, we remove the perceptions, the beliefs, all the blocks, the energetic blocks that are in our way from moving forward in a much more productive and successful based way. So we have subtraction, we remove what's in the way, and imagine if your path was filled with debris, well, you'd have to remove it first to have a better journey. And that's the first part is we need to subtract what's in the way, then start gaining traction with the application of knowing the natural ways to manage what's going on between your ears. And then what happens is you start to have this steady flow, and then you start to attract people, opportunities, situations. It's truly amazing. It truly, truly is. So let your most common statements from now on be, you're not going to believe what happened, in a good way. You won't believe who I met. You're not going to believe what I saw today. You're not going to believe the email I got or the phone call I got. When's the last time you were able to say that? Ever? Do you remember? Yeah. So we've got about 5 minutes, I believe. Yeah. And every time you see me look away, that's all I'm doing is making sure that I'm on time here. But jump in right now if you feel the urge and take advantage of an opportunity. If you don't have time to do that now, well, go to mastervisionary.com and click Apply Now. Work with Tom. And there's a very short application because not everyone is best suited, nor am I best suited for everyone, right? So the beauty here is the only time we ever work together is if I truly, truly feel from my experience that it would be productive, that we would do well together. And that's why I only bring on 8 new clients a month. That's it. There are other options, group and digital programs, but as far as working one-on-one to really, really get that subtraction, the traction, and the attraction happening, only 8 people a month. So if you want to change 2020 and you want it to end better than it started, this is how we do it. 2020 or any year starts a certain way. And again, it's perception and a little bit of reality that influences it. But no matter what's going on, you could be feeling like I feel. You could be acting like I'm acting, not like the majority of people around the world right now. And everything's fine. And it always will be. It just depends how we navigate. So 2021, usually people wait until the day of. They're like, well, let me get through the holidays first. Why not go through the holidays like someone who's got their shit together? Why not go through the holidays like somebody who's managing their life better? Why not go through the holidays healthy and able to not have the bad habits that you expect and allow instead of intercepting them? And start 2021 with momentum, already subtracting what's in the way, gaining subtraction, and then moving forward. So Gene McCowan says, I am experiencing lack of finances and have experienced this for as long as I can remember. Well, here's the good news. Lovely Gene and I are actually working together right now. Now, here's someone who gets it. And I'm going to share this, Gene. Gene is, I don't know, Gene, you're older than I am. I turned 61 last week. So Gene is not in her 20s or 30s, lives down in Texas. And what Gene is working on, now here's how you use belief. She doesn't have 100 grand, not even close. But that's what she feels she needs to open up a teaching bakery for the youth in the community, to teach them responsibility and baking skills and small business, and to give them purpose, a sense of purpose, right? But that's her vision, and her belief is it will happen. But she, like I, also knows she doesn't have to know how to make it all happen. She just needs to focus on it, move forward on it, gain some traction, and then attraction will kick in. So, Gene, it's temporary. How can you stop obsessing over your health? I have tried medication, but it's not working. And that's Nick, I believe, Nicholas. Well, let's look at this real simply. When people, again, stop and pause and say, wait a minute, what's going on? Why am I on 1, then 3, then 5, then 7, then 11? And I've had people come to me who had one problem in their life. Now they're on like 18 or 20 medications because this one caused this problem. Now this one has to counteract that one, and nightmare. Nick, you might, if it's Nick, you might know or not know that I fell on a wine glass 10 years ago and it went up through my eye and almost into my brain. This left eye, that's not functioning. Here you can see I still have some paralysis. I had Bell's palsy 3-4 years after that. Whole left side of my face collapsed, my left arm and everything. No prescriptions, none. I worked with a master herbalist and I used food and plants and tinctures and oils. That's how I healed. So the simplicity again, not only here, but in here, the whole body, nature. Pharmacy. The pharmacy is spelled with an F. See, when we put medication, now I'm not saying medication shouldn't exist. There's a need for a lot of them, but the majority of them are unnecessary. We know this from proof and evidence over time. Time gives you the evidence. Trial and error. Well, it's a lot of error. Okay, so your body understands, and it was made in a way that it only can understand what comes from the earth. A hunter, a fisherman, or a farmer. So when you put something into your body that wasn't once alive, your body can't convert it into energy, which is why we eat and consume. When we had a certain physical ailment, well, there's a leaf, there's a plant, there's a root, there's something for that issue. Do you know a lot of people daily eat medicine? Garlic is medicine. Basil is medicine. And when we use these foods regularly, we're actually using them against our system. So, Nick, the only thing I can share with you is you obsess over your health because you don't have good health, maybe. And if you have good health, obsessing over it causes bad health because obsession creates stress, and stress releases cortisol, and all kinds of problems follow what we call stress. So the idea is, why do I do what I do? I do what I do by choice. I do what I do because, right? And it should be positive. So instead of saying, oh, shit, I got to do that 30 minutes of yoga now because I want to be healthy. This is me now. No. I get to do 30 minutes of yoga to feel better and to treat myself with respect. I get to go downstairs after that to the gym area near the dartboard and pool area and work out or exercise, move my body, or put on the music and dance. But everything you do it with pleasure, you do it with pride, you do it with happiness, you do it with maybe passion even. You do it with this understanding that what I'm doing is awesome. What I'm doing is great. And not all people have the ability to even do this. I get to move my body. So, Nick, I'll tell you what, after this call, why don't we get together and you share with me this obsession and let me just share 5 minutes, 10 minutes with you of how we can work around that. But right now, as I look down, I'm past the hour. We're out of time. So again, Nick, what to do is drop me an email, tomnicoli@gmail.com. And let's jump on a quick call if you have time, or we'll schedule something. And let me share with you how you can stop obsessing about your health in order to be healthier just by removing the obsession. Anybody at all, anything that you may feel you're stuck in, email me. Let me know. You want to really move forward and do some work, go to mastervisionary.com, look at the links, click the one appropriate, and watch the replays of the shows we've already done. But it's time for me to say goodbye until 2 weeks from today. Every 2 weeks at noon on Tuesday at mastervisionary.com live. Come on over. But until then, please take your life back and make it a great day.
Thank you for watching the Master Visionary Show. Join us every other Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to remove the blocks that are keeping you from living a healthy